Hey everybody, it's John the Other. And a lot of people might be wondering why I'm no longer talking about Elizabeth Sheehy. Has the community organized Compassion and Kindness project of exposing her to the rest of the media and the rest of the world, has that fallen by the wayside? No, it hasn't. In fact, this arrived in the mail today. This is one of the books that I have ordered. Now, as you can see, the package is somewhat torn and beaten up. And, you know, you would expect that this book would have arrived in that condition, but what I got today was a different title. This is called Professing Feminism, basically how feminism has corrupted education and law and philosophy, civil rights, and just about every other field that it has touched. Now, the reason I have this book is that in going after Elizabeth Sheehy, whose 25-year project is to legalize and to normalize murder when committed by women against men in Canada, you've got to go after the academic sources. You've got to go and follow the legal precedents, follow the activism, follow the writing of all the work that she builds her case on top of. And that means a lot of reading of the people she references and the people they reference. So I am buying and will continue to buy quite a lot of books, some of which is being done on the donations of people who donate to COC, Community Organized Compassion and Kindness. And for those people who've donated, thank you very much. However, this is not an Elizabeth Sheehy video today. What I'm talking about is the cruelty that is being done to women as a subset of humanity by the activism of feminism. Now, you might remember this picture. I uploaded a version of it to Facebook a while back, as well as some commentary. And for my troubles, I was almost immediately censored, and I had my Facebook account suspended for a week. She's holding a sign, the girl in the picture, which says, "I need feminism because," and like many others it makes almost no sense, but this one is quite revealing. It says, "I need feminism because no means no, but yes doesn't always mean yes." In other words, in the social transaction of a sexual encounter, a woman who agrees to have sex, well, let's go hump. She might initiate a sexual encounter. "Hey you, let's go hump." Reserves the right to have her assent or her consent to participate in sex be reversed post facto. Oh, that was a bad idea. Or maybe the sex wasn't that great. Or, you know, I see that a new prospect has come along who's better looking or richer or more sexually endowed than the guy I just slept with. Therefore, my agreement to have sex with I now withdraw, because I feel regret. And my yes is now a no, post facto, after the fact. In fact, when I was in Toronto, attending the Paul Nathanson and Catherine Young lecture, I had a group of feminists shouting at me, en masse, that a woman who agreed to have sex, or indeed who initiated a sexual encounter and then later regretted it, was, according to them, a victim of rape, because her consent to participate in sex could be changed after the fact into refusal. Now, I recently wrote an article for A Voice for Men titled something to the effect of "California State Senate asserts that women are houseplants." California State Senate is pushing a law which probably won't pass, which I greatly regret. But the law is talking about legal standards of consent for sex in California law, particularly as sex occurs on the campuses of universities among students, male and female, presumably. Their assertion that consent for sex must be positive, affirmative, enthusiastic, and overt, and ongoing. In other words, would you like me to unbutton your blouse? Oh yes, please unbutton my blouse. Would you like me to fondle your breasts? Oh yes, please do that. Would you like me to take your pants off? Yes, kindly take my pants off, since I have no volition or capability to take them off myself. Kindly get down there. On and on and on. Asking for permission, getting permission. Asking for permission, may I kiss you? I mean, come on. Sex doesn't work like this. And anybody who thinks it does is an idiot fuck. But we see in the activism, in the rhetoric of feminists, this constant push towards consent, enthusiastic consent, and yes doesn't mean yes, or it might not, depending on how she feels about it afterwards. And what does this really lead to? Well, all human interactions are based on contracts. For example, if I go down to the pub with my friend Peter, and it's close to his paycheck, he's full of money and I'm not. So he's going to buy the drinks. And then next week, when I get paid, we go for drinks, I pay. Now, we haven't worked out any sort of formal arrangement. We haven't signed a document in which I pay and you pay and we keep an accounting and we make sure that we don't rip each other off. And I bought fish and chips this week and you were paying. Ha ha! Last week we only bought beer. No, but we do have a contract. We have an implied social contract between myself and my friend Peter. Now, if Peter starts behaving in such a way as to rip me off, I can say, fuck you, Peter, you asshole. You gotta pay me more money, or I'm not gonna buy you drinks next week. And that would be a violation of the contract. All human interactions are contractual. Whether they are overt contracts, whether explicit statement of the contractual terms, whether they are actual legal documents with a signature and a signed a notary or a lawyer who drafted them up or a witness. All social and human interactions are based on contract, whether those contracts are explicit or implicit. When we start talking about sexual consent granted by women and then withdrawn later post facto after the event, what we are saying as a society is that women cannot be trusted to participate in contracts. When it makes its way into the California State Senate, we are saying women cannot be trusted to participate in the basic, normal, standard social contracts that the rest of our entire society and lives depend on. How cruel is that? How cruel is that of this social movement claiming to advance the equality of women, to say to women and to the rest of society that they cannot be held to the standards of adulthood the rest of us cleave to as adults, as operational members of society. That women cannot be trusted to participate in basic contracts. Well, what's going to happen if this continues to progress in our society? Never mind whether this particular law or that particular law passes. People who are switched on, people who understand the social landscape that they are in and take moderate, reasonable steps to protect themselves from predatory behavior, from opportunist, from, backstabbing behavior, are going to start excluding women. A cab company which refuses to allow women into their cabs because women cannot be trusted to participate in the basic contract of getting in a cab. The guy drives you somewhere, you have to pay him. No, you don't say, oh, I don't want to pay you because you didn't let me smoke in your cab and I'm going to charge you with rape when you try to call me out on it. And yes, that happened in Edmonton 2 years ago. What happens when as a society we begin to recognize and realize and normalize that women cannot participate in contracts is we deny an entire half of the human race their adulthood. And I'm talking about women. This is the project of feminism. Now, I'm not sure if they're doing it purposefully to deny women their adulthood. What they're doing it is to take away from women accountability. That they are not accountable for any goddamn thing they do. The effect is, though, that they are denying women their adulthood. They're denying that women are capable, adult, self-owning people. And when you have an entire demographic who are separated from accountability for their actions, and they are socialized to buy into that separation from accountability, the rest of the people in our society are going to say, I won't deal with you. You can't be trusted. You're a snake. And that's why I say it is the most cruel and sadistic thing that could ever be done to women. And one more thing. Never mind all the sadism, all the cruelty, and all the harm heaped on men by feminism. Why is it that only when this impacts women, when this finally comes home to roost on women, is anybody gonna fucking wake up, open one of their eyes, and say enough is enough? If indeed they do at this point. Now, last week I asked people what the origin or the source was for the feminist fascination with fedoras. Why is there this constant conflation of men's rights activism and a hat style that seems to be either out of date or only popular among hipsters? And I got quite a few answers, and here are some of them. Yenid Treber said, I think they reference fedoras based on the, quote, golden era of history that they think the patriarchy ruled over, and being patriarchs that clearly epitomize that era, we would wear that era's clothing. Dima Todd said, to answer your question, Mr. Other, the fedora thing originated from 4chan. Quote, neckbeards and, quote, basement dwellers sometimes try to wear fedoras to make themselves look classier, believing that they resemble Humphrey Bogart from those old detective movies. However, because they usually have very young faces, they look ridiculous. Other things that tie in with fedoras are My Little Pony, obviously, and euphoria, or being euphoric, both of which are expressions mocking atheists. Mr. Wazup987, who gave the best answer, said, pickup artists wear them when they cruise bars and clubs, and since feminists hate pickup artists, and pickup artists tend to be MRAs, therefore all MRAs are pickup artists who wear fedoras. It's just logic. I'm not a pickup artist, but I like fedoras, and I couldn't pick up a woman to save my life, so according to feminists, I must not be a men's rights activist, because those are all and statements. Since I lack pickup artistness, I must not be an MRA. My God. It's like a light has come on. It's all so clear now. And this, of course, brings us to the question for this week's video. What is your definition of the word equality? Now, admittedly, you might have more than one definition. For example, equality of outcome versus equality of opportunity. Next week, I'll be talking about that. And I'll bet you that the definition I provide you, which is actually a feminist definition of the word equality, blows your mind. Blows it right out of the top of your skull. There will be a link to an article by Diana Davison addressing feminist defined equality, which you should definitely not click because that will be a spoiler. So the link in the low bar leading to equality as defined by feminism with citations, don't click that. That's a spoiler. That's the link I provided just so you know where not to go and read. And if you have a definition for equality, please provide it in the low bar, and that'll be in next week's video. Thanks very much for watching, and have a great day.